Accused of beating his A rising rapper from Atlanta is accused of beating his 4-year-old daughter so badly she hasn't opened her eyes in months.
Her whole right side of her brain was damaged.
Now the child's mother is speaking out for the first time with shocking new details and allegations. I'm Justin Carter. This is TSR Investigates. Kiana Watts met Taquan Alexander back in February of 2016. The two were co-workers at a McDonald's restaurant in the Atlanta area. They soon would fall in love, and they welcomed a baby girl later that year. Her name is Alani. But then in 2020, Alexander, he packed up his things. He moved to the Los Angeles area to pursue a rap career. Then in September 2021, Watts says that she allowed Alani to go visit him just for about 3 months. However, weeks before Alani was to return home to Atlanta, she says that she got an emergency call that Alani was being rushed to the hospital with severe brain injuries and fractured ribs. Kiana Watts says that November 29, 2021 will forever be one of the worst days of her life.
A detective called me and informed me that my daughter was bleeding from the brain and has had emergency surgery.
She then got a text and a FaceTime from Alexander.
He told me that Alani passed out standing in timeout. The ambulance is here.
You know, he told you that she had passed out, but I'm sure you had questions.
I did. And when I asked him, was she okay, how she passed out, he really wasn't answering me. Like, he was just shaking his head and covering his mouth like this, not answering me. First of all, it looked like he had just woke up.
She hopped on the first flight from Atlanta to Los Angeles.
Describe what she looked like.
Oh my God. She had a tube down her throat. She didn't have hair on the side of her head. It was a marker right here, written in the middle of her forehead because of the surgery.
According to this ER report obtained exclusively by the Shade Room, the 4-year-old Alani had, quote, extensive bleeding located on the right side of her brain, and because of the building of pressure, the child's right part of her skull was removed to evacuate the bleeding.
Instead of being truthful, I had to find out from a detective what really happened.
We also got our hands on this 60-page court document. Alexander allegedly told investigators that, quote, the child is a bedwetter, and when she wets the bed, he punishes her by making her do rigorous exercises with an element of physical abuse, like hitting with boxing gloves, hitting her with a belt, and hitting her with a speaker wire. The report also goes on to say that on the day that Alani was rushed to the hospital, she, quote, wet the bed, so he made her do wall planks. Then he gave her a whooping with a belt. During this whooping with the belt, the child tried to protect herself by moving a stereo speaker in front of her to block the father's actions. The father then proceeded to take the speaker wire and whoop her with that, then had her do more rigorous exercises while he drew her a bath. Moments later, he says that, quote, when he found his child was having seizure-like symptoms and appeared to be losing consciousness, he put her in the bath in an effort to revive her. When that did not work, he called 911.
I was confused because I talked to Alani all the time when she was out there. I got pictures all the time from him.
At the hospital, doctors found deep bruises and puncture wounds all over her body. Court records also showing that Alexander said he, quote, only became aware of the puncture wound that day and shared that he does not know how she got that puncture wound. He suggested to authorities that Alani was playing with puppies over the Thanksgiving holiday, and that's perhaps how she sustained those wounds. After questioning, Taquan Alexander was arrested and charged on felony assault on a child, aggravated mayhem, torture, and child endangerment.
How many people live in a house that you know of?
And that's the crazy part. It was him, his brother, his uncle, and his other uncle, and his girlfriend. I knew none of that. I just knew about the owner of the house and his girlfriend.
Watts claims that this all happened while Alexander was living at his uncle's house in Thousand Oaks. She says that his uncle is LA Rams cornerback Troy Hill.
Last time I've heard from them was when it happened, and everyone who lives in that house story does not add up to me.
We reached out to Troy Hill's management team for a comment. In an email, a spokesperson wrote, quote, Mr. Hill is aware of the allegations against Mr. Alexander. Unfortunately, Mr. Hill was not present at the time of the incident, nor was he the legal owner of the residence, and has no personal knowledge of what transpired. Additionally, as a result of the ongoing investigation against Mr. Alexander, Mr. Hill has to refrain from further comment at this time.
Say hi. Alani, tell the world hello.
Watts says that the hospital did pay for Alani to fly back home to Atlanta, where she's currently bedridden. This is what she looks like today. Nearly 7 months later, she still can't open her eyes and is in weekly therapy.
Since day one, they were telling me what she will be able to do and won't do, and she's been showing the opposite. Everybody said they miss Alani. She was the life of the party, like her mom. But I know my baby's going to be whole again.
There is a GoFundMe campaign set up to help out with Alani's mounting medical bills. It's raised just under $2,000 so far. We did also hear back from the Sheriff's Department. They say in addition to those child abuse charges, they also found an unsecured assault rifle and a handgun inside of Alexander's bedroom at the time. So consequently, he also faces 4 additional weapons charges and is due back in court July 7th for a preliminary hearing.